I'm Darius, and I am a creator. Cue the "Hi Darius" as if it's an AA meeting or something. Um, but I'm a creator, and I have some struggles as a creator. So I wanted to make this video because I believe other creators, especially creative people and creators that I know in my personal life, have similar struggles, and I've been working on finding solutions to these struggles. And a lot of the things that I've noticed in other people, I notice in myself. So I've been trying to systematically address a lot of these. So if you're a creator and you have some of these struggles, maybe some of these solutions might help you as well. So I have my handy dandy whiteboard here. I love whiteboards. They're a great tool because it's a medium that you can use over and over and over again, unlike a sheet of paper. I love writing on paper too, taking notes and drawing things, but whiteboards are great for things like this that I'm just going to write it, but it's information that I might not need again, so I can just erase it, reuse it. Anyway, I digress. So, struggle. Sorry about that. So one thing that I've struggled with in the past, and I think a lot of other creators struggle with too, is consistency. Or, in some ways, kind of the same, burnout. Solutions. So for me, consistency is the biggest thing. If it's a long project, working on something a little bit at a time every single day, eventually, like I just kind of lose momentum, lose interest, lose inspiration, whatever it may be. With burnout, it could be one of two things. Either you're having to work on it a lot over a period of time and it just wears you out, or it could be like if you're going to the gym, for example, and you're a little bit out of shape and you do too much too soon, you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to want to go back. Or you're not going to go back for a long time, and then you just lose all your progress. But I think for me with consistency, the biggest thing is, especially with a big project that's not something I can just do in a day, I find that the projects that, or the things that I want to create, whatever they may be, if I give them some sort of meaning, some sort of purpose, if they have more of a purpose than just, oh, it'd just be cool to do this, or this would be a great thing to make, or it'd be a fun thing to make. A lot of times, if I don't do it right away, it never really gets done. I'll remember it and I'll keep it in the back of my mind and I'll say, oh yeah, that one thing, I'll get to that eventually. But if it has a purpose, something that's important, like, oh, if I make this thing, it'll solve this problem, or if I make this thing, this person is depending on me to create this to solve their problem, then all of a sudden that becomes, at the top of my mind. I'm just thinking about it like, oh yeah, I really need to get this done. So like I will want to work on it because I know that it's for more than just my own entertainment. It's actually solving a problem, and that immediately gives it a lot more, what's the word, priority over a lot of other things that could be taking up my time, like mindlessly scrolling on Instagram or YouTube or something. With burnout, I really just try to, oh yeah, I should write these down, shouldn't I? Give it purpose. In other words, aka why are you doing it? And I think this also helps with the burnout for the same reason. Um, you will want to keep going if you know that, hey, this is really going to solve a problem. But you also got to be careful with burnout because Your health is important too. You don't want to work yourself to death. That's not going to help anybody. So pace yourself. That's the biggest thing, which is why they kind of go together. Consistency, that's pacing yourself. Do a little bit, the next day do a little more, and that should prevent burnout if you're not trying to pull, 12, 14 hour long days trying to work on this project. Again, this is for creators that are just working out of their home garage, as you can see that I am right now because I'm just in my garage. Obviously, if you're in school or you're part of a company that's working on a big project, then that's a different story, and you have to kind of just address that as you need to based on what the requirements are. But doing this for me has made the biggest difference in making me want to keep going, making me want to get started in the first place. Some things I don't struggle with when it comes to that at all. Some things, if I'm just excited enough about it, I'll just do it, especially if it's something I can get done in one day. So that's not always a struggle, but sometimes with longer projects for sure. So number two would probably have to be perfectionism. And I don't struggle with that as much as I used to, because what I've realized that the excitement of finishing a project and getting to put it to use is greater than it being just perfect. But I know a lot of people struggle with perfectionism. And I think a good way around perfectionism is you have to set boundaries before you begin and establish what this is meant to do. What is it supposed to look like? What is its function? What is it trying to do? And just set very clear parameters, and then look at each of those parameters and decide, okay, what is the minimum it needs to accomplish? And then that that at the very least you just have to hit that minimum. And I'm not saying like always aim for the bare ass minimum, but what I am saying is there's a point of diminishing returns with every project. You get to a point where certain things are just good enough, and if you keep pushing beyond that, you're really not going to get that much more out of it. So you have to just kind of know what's your middle ground of like, it serves its function, it does it well, it does it reliably, it does what I need it to do, and doing it just that little bit better is not really going to provide that much value. The other thing with perfectionism is give yourself boundaries slash parameters, but also deadlines. Actually, I'm going to make that plus deadlines. Because if you know you have a deadline for something, then you're not going to, let's say you're working on creating something that has 5 main pieces that go with it. And piece number 3, you had it done in 4 hours, but now you're going on, the 8th hour of trying to make it just perfect, but you still have piece number 4 and 5, and your time to complete this project is quickly coming to an end. Not slowly, quickly coming to an end. So if you know you have your deadlines and you're trying to hit certain deadlines, then that helps you kind of put into perspective how much time you actually have for every step of this project that you're working on, and that should kind of limit the amount of perfectionism you can put into it, because getting it done should be more important than getting it perfect. Plus, nothing's ever really truly perfect anyway. So that leads me to number 3, which is time slash energy management. I'm going to shorthand management. It's too long of a word. I don't feel like writing it out right now. Time and energy management. So the deadline thing becomes really important with your time management as well. You know, in a real world, you could take forever to work on a project, but whether you're doing it because you're being paid to do it, or you're doing it for your own personal satisfaction, or solving some personal problem or a friend's problem, or whatever it may be, whatever you're creating for whatever reason, having an infinite amount of time to just keep working on it would be amazing. But the reality is, other things come up, life things come up, work things come up, school things come up. Like, you're not going to have an infinite amount of time, but if you want to get it done, you know that you have deadlines. So the best way for me when I'm trying to manage my time and energy is to break the project up into very clear steps or stages. Stages that you can then kind of compartmentalize and say, okay, today I'm going to finish this stage of the project, and that includes doing this, and this. And if you're able to do that, then you know, okay, I have this much time to work on something. And let's say you have 5 days to work on a project, and you know that on the very last day should be your, testing, whatever that may be. If it's a function test, then you do your function test to make sure it works properly, or if it's a fit test, then you make sure it fits properly. I don't have to do anything. Ideally, you don't want to leave that till the very last minute, because if you have to go back and change or adjust something, you want time for that as well. But if you know that on day 5 this thing basically has to be ready, then you know that it has to be completed on day 4. So if you got 5 stages and 4 days to complete them, then you know you kind of have to be, okay, well, stage 1 I think is going to take me about this much time. I'm going to start on stage 1 and I plan to finish it, day 1. Day 2 will be stage 2 and 3. And that way day 3 and 4 will be stage 4 and 5. And you just kind of break it up into different areas and sections and stages, so that way you can make a plan and give yourself, essentially, what's the word? Checkpoints. That's the word. Stages plus checkpoints. Yeah. Checkpoints. And this should help with both time and energy, because this should also prevent that. Because if you're not managing your time, then inevitably what's going to happen is, if you're procrastinating and you get to that very last couple of days and you realize, oh no, I'm not even halfway through and I have all this work I got to do and it's got to be ready by noon on Friday, then that's going to happen. So you kind of see how all of these really kind of go together, and the solutions for them also kind of go together, because this will prevent that, and this will help with that. So, sorry, that was very vague, this and that, but you know what I meant. But that's how I do it. That's how I manage my time and energy. I break things up into multiple steps, as many as I need to make them simplified enough to where I can just focus on one thing at a time, and just keeping my deadlines in check, and make sure that, okay, by this amount of time I need to be this much to the process, because I assume it'll take this much time for all of this. And at the very least, even if you're running behind, you kind of know where you're at. Like, oh, I need to put in an extra couple hours today to get through something. This does become kind of hard though if you're working on a personal project, because if there's no higher stakes, you're not going to get fired, The customer's not going to be unhappy with you if you don't get something done on time. So this does become a little harder with personal projects. I believe giving that project more of a purpose helps with kind of keeping you motivated to keep going and stick to your deadline. But giving yourself a deadline and challenging yourself to get it done in that amount of time is the best way to really get through that. It is hard when it's personal because if there's no consequences and you just don't hit your deadline, then you're like, oh well, I'll just get back to it whenever. But that's a trap. Don't fall for that. It's going to sit there forever, unfinished, and you're going to look at it from time to time and you're going to say, oh, I'll get to that, on a nice sunny day, or I'll get to that, and it'll just sit there. Remind yourself why you did it. Remind yourself how happy this is going to make you when it's done, how amazing it's going to feel to use the thing you made, to show it to your friends and family, to, put it up on a wall somewhere or in like a display case or something and look at it and just be proud of something that you've created. It's so easy with personal projects to just say, I'll get to it later. But every single time that I've done that and I finally went and finished the project, I realized, oh, this only took me another hour and a half, 2 hours, and I could have just had it done 5 months ago. And every single time I've regretted it, and every single time I've been like, man, if I had just known that I would have been this happy and it would have been this easy to just push through and just get it done, I would have done it right there and then. But again, it's hard. Other things come up, life comes up, understandable, but hold yourself to your deadline and don't forget why you're doing it. So now, one of the biggest things that I struggle with a lot, number 4, probably, I'm going to star this one. Star. Inspiration. Sometimes I love creating. I'm at my happiest when I'm making stuff, modifying stuff, building things. I love it. And sometimes I want to do it, but I just don't know what to do. And yeah, inspiration, I think, is something that, if it's for like a personal project, not even just getting ideas, but just getting started. Feeling inspired to just want to start in the first place. Again, personal projects are the hardest thing because, you're not being given an assignment or a project or something, in which case it's more of just like, all right, well, we just got to get it done. But personal projects, again, like I said, with the time and energy thing, it's the hardest for me, especially, to just start on something. And I think a lot of creators struggle with this because another word for this is the creative block, also known as writer's block. I think most commonly probably known as writer's block, but the creative block. And this could strike at any time. I mean, you could be working on something and then the next step you're just like, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what it needs. I don't know what it's missing. Yeah, this is the biggest thing for me, and I've realized that one of the biggest solutions to this is your environment. If you are in a garage like I am right now, it's not a great space for creating. Because if you're like most people, your garage probably looks, well, here, I'll just show you. This is my garage. just a bunch of yard equipment, shelves with stuff. There's a bin. I was just in there digging for stuff. More yard equipment on the wall. My bow. The sauna that my wife and I use. And just, yeah, a little bit of everything. Everywhere. So, yeah. So that's kind of like my starting point right now is I'm just in this, it's just a garage. I have my workbench over here, cluttered full of stuff, and I feel the least inspiration when I don't have a dedicated workspace. I find that having a dedicated workspace that is set up to be like optimal for whatever you want it to be. Everyone's workshop is different. Everyone's idea of a workshop is different. I love watching Adam Savage, his channel Tested, and how his ideas and his approach to his workshop and the way he has things organized, and it's awesome. I love watching his videos because it inspires me when I see his workshop, and I'm just like, he has all these materials and tools and all this stuff. But he talks very specifically, especially in his book, about how when you're done with the project, clean up your tools, clean up your workspace. You want it to be clean so that when you come in the next day, and that's the hardest part, especially if you've been working for a long time, is stopping your project, putting your tools away, cleaning stuff up, not leaving a mess. But when you come back the next day, you're so much more willing to go and start working because you just have this blank canvas of all right, let me just see where I'm at, grab a tool, start doing stuff. Whereas if you're coming in and the very first thing you have to do is clean up, then that automatically is going to start draining your energy, and it's going to cost you a bunch of time. Precious time that when you're in your prime of your thought process and your creative energy, and your ideas are flowing, and then not being able to immediately start applying it, instead you're having to stop and clean and put things away and organize, and then by the time you're done with all that, now you're having to okay, well, where was I? What was I thinking about? What was my idea again? It's such a huge just an energy gets sucked out of you. And I feel that. And then the way my workbench looks right now with all my tools and all my crap on there, I notice a huge difference than when I come out here and my workbench is clean and clear and there's nothing on it, and I'm like, ooh, nice clean space for me to do stuff. And then I want to do stuff, and then I'll feel like starting on anything. Inspiration just comes to you when you're in an environment that is inspiring and is basically teasing you to pick up a tool and start doing stuff. So I think coming up, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be addressing this, for me personally the most, converting this space behind me to a much more inspiring workspace that is, although very, very small and limited, I'm really challenging myself to make it super, super functional and just pack as much stuff into a small space as I can, whether it's tools, whether it's equipment, and organization, and I just want everything to be all right there and make it very, very easy to use. Hey, Theo. Sorry, my cat just walked by. Hey, buddy. Come here, buddy. What are you doing? Come here. This is my little helper. What you doing? Are you hunting? All right, go hunt. All right. So, let's see how much space I actually have to work with. All right. got. So my garage is, let's see, half of my garage is completely off limits because we park our car in the garage. Do not want to get rid of that. So half of the garage is automatically spoken for. So let's see. See if I can just pass it this way. So the other limit that I have is the fact that I have to keep the walkway clear. So really just up to about here. Let's see. About 10 feet is what I got. Like maximum 10 feet. And then this way is about 12 feet. So let's see. 10 by 12. So I have 120 square feet to work with. So we'll see how much of a shop I can fit in 120 square feet. Right now my my workshop, my work bench, really, because that's all it really is at this point. This area takes up, let's see, this very, very junky area takes up about 18. Okay, that's not bad. So my workbench is about 18. Granted, you got to remember one important thing is this doesn't include, or this does include, it does include walking space. I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves is like having no walking space and having to step over things and around things drives me crazy. You want your floor to be clean and clear. One, because it's just easier. It just, it slows down the process so much when you're having to walk around stuff and step over things. But it's also safer. You don't want to trip over something while you're trying to like get something done. You're excited. Oh, let me go grab this tool real quick, and you don't notice you have something on the floor and you trip over it, and then now you've hurt yourself, and it just completely throws off everything. And yeah, clean floor space. So this does include the floor. So in reality, when it's all said and done, it's a lot less space than that. My workbench area, it kind of takes up about 18 square feet. So really and truly, depending on how I want to design the flow of my workspace, realistically I'll have 100 square feet. 100 square feet to work with. Because I'm definitely not getting rid of my workbench. But I'm probably going to try and get rid of a lot of the stuff that's behind me. Or at least try and store it or organize it in a different way. But yeah, that's good. That's a nice round number. 100 square feet. So let's see what we can do with 100 square feet. I really hope some of this speaks to you guys, creators out there, and I hope that some of my solutions help you and help some of you maybe get past some of these struggles and create something great, create the next awesome thing, and share it on the internet, or leave a comment, say which of these are you struggling with, And did these solutions help you, or did you have a different solution that helps you personally? And that might hopefully help even me in some ways. So, yeah. Until next time, we're gonna get started on that on the next couple videos or so. Alright, ciao for now.